A normal day at a high school where students are entering at their regular time. The students enter only to notice that the statue of the principal is broken. So everyone gathers around to discuss who was able to do such a thing. Some of the students gossip about the possibility that the Lord of Catastrophe is doing it. When a student tries to say Lord's name out loud, the other students stop him. They tell the student to never say his name out loud like that because he always brings bad luck with him. Whenever he is around someone, something happens to them. Just as the students are gossiping about this, the Lord of Catastrophe walks in. His real name is revealed to be Lin Xingchon. A student falls near Lin, so the student asks for mercy from him. When Lin turns to help the student stand, some boys appear from behind and tell him to stop. Those boys refer to themselves as the Gifted Student Battalion. These students share a common goal: to protect the people from Lin's bad luck and become heroes. Although all of them fell to the ground as they came near Lin, Lin continues to walk toward his classroom. As soon as Lin walks in, his other classmates talk about him being evil. Although Lin thinks that he has not cursed anyone, he is the one being cursed. For example, a week earlier, he was the one who got hit by a truck and stayed in the hospital for a week, not the other way around. So, Lin chooses to ignore everyone as he goes to sit at his table. Lin expected no one to sit beside him when a girl named Lu Ling sat next to him. When Lin tries to make her go away, she pushes him toward the windows, and he slips and falls. Chapter 2. As he fell, the whole class watched in surprise. All of them know that it was an incident and not Lu Ling's fault. So all of them wish that Lin will not haunt them and just consider this an accident. Lin, who was falling, couldn't believe that this was happening to him. For 1 second, he felt like it was now over for him. Then he came back to his senses and decided to figure out a way out of this, as he has been in the weirdest situations possible. So he takes out his umbrella and opens it while he is still in the air. He makes himself land safely but accidentally throws a rock at the principal's statue. Due to this, the statue breaks, and in this way, he is again in trouble. Lin was called to the student council. There, he was told that he has to pay 700 yuan for the damages. Lin tries to argue, but Madam is not in the mood to listen. When Lin asks permission to leave the office, she tells him to stop and listen to what she is saying. She then advises him to take a year off from school. This makes him angry, so he asks the reason for it. Madam tells him that he has caused many troubles and broken many rules since a month ago when he was given admission, and also the fact that there are many rumors regarding him, so it would be better for him to take off for a year. After a year, all the rumors would be forgotten and no one would judge him, nor would he become the center of attention anymore. Lin, of course, does not like this idea, so he leaves the office, telling Madam that he would take half a year off. Lin leaves the office angrily. On his way back, he drinks the soda and kicks it to show his frustration. However, the can hits him in the head, so he prays that it might be something he would fight too. Just then, a crow appears in front of him and attacks him. This makes Lin angry, so he decides to chase the crow and get rid of him. It looks like, at this point, he is done with his bad luck. While chasing the bird, he stumbles around various people. He gets rid of several obstacles in his way using his umbrella. At this point, Lin does not care about him being bad luck anymore, he just wants to catch the bird. But suddenly he runs into an old lady and she falls. He asks her to pay for his medical bills. Instead of giving her a reply, Lin quietly kneels in front of her and grabs his umbrella. After that, he changes his position and bows toward her and runs, while the old lady who is sitting on the floor curses him. She curses Lin, saying he will remain bad luck forever. The old lady stands up, surprising the crowd near her. Lin does not care about this anymore because he has been called by that name for a very long time. After getting rid of the old lady and the crowd, Lin walks towards his school. As soon as he walks in, students gossip about him missing several classes. Lin goes straight to his classroom. When he sees that the class bullies are bullying Lu, so Lin steps in and stops them. The bullies start to mock Lin too. Lin does not care and tells them to stop what they are doing. However, the girls continued mocking Lin about him falling through the windows and landing on a tree. The girls even make Lu tell Lin to back off. After Lin hears this, he decides to leave the class. However, one of the bullies tries to kick him, so Lin uses his umbrella and stops her. When he backed off, the bully girl got hurt a bit. The bully cries and curses him for bringing such a pointy umbrella to the school. An immediate announcement is made, in which it is told that Lin is suspended for his behavior. The next day, when Lin goes to his class, the teacher tells the students that the administration and board have decided to give Lin a chance. The reason is the simplest: he will be able to work on his qualities. However, there is a condition: he has to become part of the gifted student community. None of the classmates like this decision and all of them want Lin to leave, as all of them think that Lin does not have any skills and does not deserve to be among them. They think he's nothing more than bad luck. While Lin was relaxing in his seat and his face was covered with a book, the class teacher throws a book at him to get his attention, and also to remind him to work hard as he only has a half month. Lin still tells him that it is not a big deal for him. Also, the class teacher threatens him that until the school day ends he will let him be who he is. And so the school day ends as students leave their respective classes to head home. So does Lin. While walking out, he thinks about the number of times he has been in trouble while at this school. Lin was walking in his zone when a boy snatched his umbrella and ran inside the school. Lin notices this as he runs behind him. When the boy reaches a dead end, Lin orders him to stop. Also, Lin tells him to give his umbrella back and that she will not hurt him. The boy turns around only to tell Lin that he walked into a trap. And when Lin looks back, he sees the class teacher. When asked what he wants from him, the teacher tells him that he just wants to teach him. So Lin begins insulting the boy, which makes him angry, so the boy attacks Lin. However, Lin used his mind and was able to get rid of the boy. After that, the teacher and Lin get into a fight. The start goes on for quite some time. When Lin got the chance to escape, he ran into the corridor. Lu sees all of this and decides to help Lin. For this, she waits inside a classroom near windows, and when the teacher would come, she would open the windows so that Lin could run. However, her plan fails as Lin runs in front of the teacher. Lin is injured and falls to the ground instead of the teacher. When the teacher notices Lu, she runs out of his sight. The teacher grabs the perfect opportunity to get the upper hand on Lin, so he puts his shoe on him and appreciates his fighting skills. It took some time for Lin to realize what had happened because his head was still hurting and his vision was blurred. Lu decides to come out and see Lin. She calls for him and stares at him quietly. After some time, she leaves and the bully girl who got hurt arrives. The girl punches Lin and asks him to ask her for forgiveness. However, Lin was not ready to do this. So instead, the bully girl, Sha, punches him in the face. Her brothers, who were standing behind her, tell her not to do that. But she arrogantly tells them that he is fine and it won't hurt him. After that, she takes the umbrella from Lin and points outward toward him. She orders her brothers to leave a mark on Lin's face using the umbrella. Before leaving him with her brothers, she hands over the umbrella to the teacher. The teacher starts beating Lin. He tries to poke Lin's face using the pointed edge of the umbrella. However, Lin stops him and the blood starts dripping from Lin's hand. Due to the blood, the umbrella opens itself and a monster is released. It turns out that Lin used to go to a special school. In that school, the headmistress had this umbrella. Lin wanted to play with the umbrella for a very long time, but his master wouldn't allow it. She told Lin that it is cursed and her forefathers have captured a monster in it with a seal. She always told Lin to be careful, as the line would be broken by a single drop from a young teen boy or girl. However, the mistress's intentions were not good at all, as she wanted to use the cursed umbrella to have all the wealth for herself. After the death of his headmistress, he got his hands on the umbrella, and now, in the present, that monster is released. The two brothers stepped back as the umbrella opened itself. While only Lin can see the monster tells him that he will consume Lin and says the same thing repeatedly. But before that, the monster asks him to beg him for mercy. In that way, he would make it quicker. As of now, the body wants to take over Lin's body and get new recognition. However, no matter how badly Lin is struggling with the monster's grip, he refuses to beg. Monster makes fun of Lin and thinks that he is acting tough because he has been through tough situations. Instead, he lets the monster attempt. As soon as the monster tries to consume Lin's body, the monster notices the bad luck he has been surrounded with, as bad luck is in Lin's soul, which is being molded by the monster's soul. Lin laughs at the situation because it makes him terrified. Lin laughs at the fact that even in the other world of monsters and evil spirits, everyone is afraid of bad luck. No one wants to consume it. Soon, Monster notices that it is not just about the bad luck attached to Lin. It is because of bad luck that Lin's blood is poisonous. So the monster decides to take a step back and gets out of Lin's body. The brothers who were watching Lin struggle were confused at the sight as they couldn't see anyone. The monster then comes up with the idea that a part of his soul has bad luck. So to get rid of the bad luck, the monster must give up 80% of his body and transfer it to at least 3 people. In this way, he might be able to get rid of the bad luck. Once the monster is out of Lin's body, it disappears into thin air. On the other side, the student council gathers the art pieces of the day and gifts them to her principal. But it was rejected immediately, and he told her to get rid of everything she brought as none of the above fits his criteria. This surprises her, but she leaves the office quietly. On her way back, the officer of the student council cannot help but think about the principal, who is also looking forward to his interests. This saddens her because, over time, fewer and fewer people create about the student's art. So she throws the box of art scriptures out the window. While back down there, the brothers mock Lin as they still want to beat him. But Lin could not understand what had just happened, and there went the monster. Despite all of this, he gathers himself around and stands ready to fight. Lin saw that box of art scriptures falling. As one of his instincts has been activated, he has been able to predict him. The box falls on one of the brothers and Lin witnesses it. This was surprising for him, as suddenly his bad luck was supposed to affect him, but instead it did not. Rather, it attacks one of the brothers. The teacher standing next to his brother panics and asks for the ambulance. However, Lin wants to take back what was taken from him. For that, he approaches the injured teacher. The teacher panics and tells him that he would give him the umbrella, but he just needs to leave. But Lin had enough of him. He punched the teacher and took back what was his. After that, Lin pushes the teacher again. After Lin is done with the teacher, the umbrella he was holding in his hands flies in the air. The monster again appears in front of him. And now this time he introduces himself as Peepa. Peepa tells Lin that bad luck got into his soul too, which means that both of them are now connected. Lin stops for a minute as he thinks that it might be another form of bad. But he does not care anymore because it has been a long time since he has dealt with his bad luck. Peepa has changed his shape, and now he has turned himself into a ball. Peepa then hangs itself from the umbrella's handle, so Lin puts the umbrella back into its case. Lin tells Peepa that he thought he was the umbrella, but it turns out he is a ball. Peepa corrects him and tells him that he is neither of the above nor a human. He is a monster. While heading out, Lin tells Peepa that he wants to teach a lesson to the bullies in her group. Peepa asks Lin to help, but Lin declines the offer as the duo heads out. Peepa tells Lin his plan. He is spreading Lin's bad luck to everyone, and in that way, he will be able to get rid of the bad luck on his soul and leave Lin alone. Lin starts walking on the pathway, and Peepa is surprised to see the movie posters. Peepa talks to Lin about the sudden change in the world since he was locked up some centuries before. This makes Lin think about Peepa's age. Even when Lin was about to cross the road when the lights were red, Peepa pushed him backward. Peepa was still not able to understand the concept of posters. Lin was irritated by the way Peepa was acting. Lin wants to get rid of Peepa, but there is nothing he can do about that. As Peepa can hear Lin's thoughts, he tells Lin that they are inseparable. Peepa was distracting Lin so much that he almost got into an accident. The next day, Lin and Peepa go to school. But this time, it was different, as no one was staring at Lin when he walked in. However, all the students had their attention on the Shaw brothers. Among them is the one who claims to have beaten the person to death who dared hurt his elder brother. Peepa passed the comment on to the brothers and said that it looks like those two are still under the influence of bad luck. The brothers were near the statue of the principal, which was situated in the center. One of the other students told the angry brother that no one did it to him, as the elder brother fell due to the banana peel. But the brother was not convinced. In fact, he decided to threaten everyone that he would not let it pass easily. Furthermore, he punches the statue, due to which the head of the statue falls on the brother as he collapses. Students were taken aback as they attempted to figure out what to do. So one of the students suggested that an ambulance should be called as his life might be in danger, while Lin runs and hides in a room. Peepa questions Lin's action, but he does not answer, and after a while, he starts laughing badly. He was laughing so loudly that it could be heard outside the room. No one wanted to go near the room he was in, except for one, Lu. She goes near the door and stands there, trying to understand the situation. Chapter 11. She finally enters the room, but Lin does not like it, so he stares at her. Soon enough, she apologizes and asks for permission to take out some stuff. Lin has calmed down, so he decides to help her. Lin helps Lu carry the stuff. Everyone was surprised at this because they couldn't understand it. When Lin asks Lu the reason she is carrying this stuff, she tells him that the bullies told her to. She also tells him to stay out of it, as she starts to tell him her story. In school, nobody would talk to her like what happened to Lin, and the bullies were in the same class as her. They told her to obey their orders, and she would never be left alone. Lin, of course, does not like this because he understands that the girls will always do this as their form of entertainment. But he decides not to use harsh words and tells her that this is not his problem. That's when Lin gets a flashback of when Lu was able to pull his shoulder. He thinks that it might be a coincidence, or she might have this because she has practiced a lot. For this reason, he decides to try it. He puts his shoulder on her, and she reacts the same way she always has. This confirms Lin's thinking. Just as he is thinking about how Lu can be so strong, a ball hits her in the face. Peepa, who was quiet for a long time, finally speaks up. He tells Lin, and she also got a percentage of his bad luck. She was on the other side of the room when he was fighting with the brothers. Peepa does not think it is a big deal, so he asks Lin to relax. But Lin does not appreciate this and thinks about his next step while Lu is lying unconscious. The boys who were playing with the ball gathered around to see what was going on. But no one dared interrupt as they all thought that Lu was the one fighting with the Lord. So the boys took their ball and left quietly, while Lin wants to get help for Lu, who is unconscious, so he picks her up on his shoulder and starts walking toward the infirmary. While in the class, the students are betting on whether Lin will be suspended after all of this or not. Their class monitor walks in. He tells everyone that the selection for the elite title is about to start, and he wants everyone on their best behavior. Surprisingly, everyone listens and gets excited because they want the title for themselves. Back down there, Lin is carrying Lu. He asks Peepa to take back her bad luck. Peepa rejects the suggestion and tells him that he will not do it. He further explains that now human bad luck is related to him, while spiritual bad luck is related to him. If he does that, they would be fighting with the evil spirits. No matter how hard Peepa tries to convince Lin, he is still ready to accept all the changes necessary to make Lu safe. While back in the class, Shaw records Lin carrying Lu on his shoulders. She smiles evilly as she gets ready with her next plan for the both of them. Chapter 13. In the student council office, Zhu has been called. He has been given a warning about his behavior, as he does not come to school and has full attendance. The officer tells him that it does not matter whether Zhu is rich or not. In the school, they will make the rules that should be followed, and he must be thankful to Lin. He has been in the spotlight, which is why Zhu is still in school. Zhu listens to everything, and she arrogantly asks for permission to leave. It turns out Zhu belongs to a very rich family, and he also makes very generous donations to the school. While leaving the office, he drops the flower he was sniffing. Moreover, he crushes the flower with his foot, showing off his arrogance. While back in the infirmary, an unconscious Lu gets a flashback. She thinks about the time when she was able to pin everyone down and the bullies threatened to keep it a secret if she did obey them. All of the people who she pulled down emotionally abused her by calling her various names. None of the people could believe that Lu might be able to do this, as she does not seem strong, yet she is. Lu panicked at the moment and tried to tell everyone that although it was her body, she still did not know how this happened. It is like sometimes her body is controlled by anyone else. That was the reason Lu had no other option but to abide by what the bullies told her. When Lu gains consciousness, she gets a visit from the bullies. They tell her that they need her help. Lin, who hadn't left the infirmary, was standing behind the wall. He predicted everything that was going to happen to Lu, and about this, Lin was not happy. So Lin also decides to come up with a plan. For this, he wants Peepa's help. He wants to give a share of his bad luck to the bullies, but for that, he needs to touch them. First, Lin decides that he will grab the girls from their soldiers, but this would create a misunderstanding, so instead, he decides to touch their heads. He orders Peepa, but he tells him at the correct time that it is not possible. When asked, Peepa tells him that he will have no bad luck until noon. But this Lin also understood that Lin is still under bad luck. After the girls leave, Lu also comes out of the infirmary. Lin keeps following her while Peepa roasts Lin for being a softie. No matter how many times Lin tells him not to say that, he keeps telling him that he is falling for Lu. Lin was one of the students carrying the statue's head, so he predicted that it might hurt Lu. So he kicks the head out of the window, and the statue hits the injured teacher who was lying on the stretcher. No one tries to stop Lin because of his image. In another hallway, Lin found a knife that might also hurt Lu, so he throws the knife out of the window. The knife stabs Shaw's second brother, who was waiting to be taken to the hospital. A teacher finds Lin in this act, so he orders him to stop. But he runs for his life. Now Lin and Lu are out of the infirmary. Zhu crosses paths with Lu. He gives her a red rose and tries to take advantage of her. All of this was enough for Lu to be frozen at the point. However, Lin arrived just in time and pinned Zhu to the ground. Zhu does not like this, so he stands up only to notice his nose is bleeding. Zhu takes it very personally and invites Lin to a fight. Although Lin didn't want to fight, he agrees. After a while, students tell each other about the fight, and everyone gathers around the duo. Zhu is quite popular because she was rich, but no one was willing to support Lin. Among everyone, Lu is also standing there, still unable to understand why they would be fighting with me. While Zhu and Lin agree that the one who loses has to give up on Lu right away, Peepa speaks to Lin and shows his angry emotions, as he wants peace until noon. But now there is no way but to fight. Soon, both of them get into a fight. Lin goes first and uses his techniques. His techniques aren't working very well because everyone has seen Lin fight, making it easy to predict his moves. Behind the crowd, the principal finally arrives. He makes his way to the front. At the front, Zhu uses a wind splash on Lin but doesn't hurt him. Zhu and Lin stopped after seeing the principal in front of them. Although Lin didn't believe that it was principal, sadly, it was. Chapter 16. Zhu and Lin stood at a far distance from each other as the principal walked. He then addresses the students and asks them whether any one of them has heard a story about the golden, silver, and iron axes. All of the students nod their heads, so the principal asks the students who threw the axe. This time it was Zhu, so the principal takes Zhu with you. Zhu does not resist the principal. Instead, he threatens Lin that he will come back for him. A pure silence was heard among the crowd. The crowd continues to talk about the current circumstances and what they should do, so all of them decide to apologize to Lin, as they don't want any problems for themselves after Zhu has been taken away. They all fear the principal because they believe she is cursed. Lu talks to Lin and informs him that she is heading toward the class. It was the physical education period. During the whole period, Lin stands in the corner, as no one invites him to play, but he notices that neither Lu nor the bullies are present in the room. As the period ends, everyone says goodbye to the PE teacher and returns to the class. The students who bet on Lin came to discover that the box with money has disappeared. This causes chaos in the class because who would have dared to do that? The students were sure that the box was present before that, and they locked their classroom. When the class notices that Shasha is missing, they suspect her. Lu breaks the silence and tells everyone that she was the one who didn't take the PE lecture. This makes everyone stare at her, so the class starts an investigation. They ask her who was with her when she was in the room. She tells them clearly that there were some other girls also present, but she made sure to lock the door before leaving the class. Shasha and Maki, also known as the bullies, walk into the class. They tell everyone that they were not in class because Shasha lost something and they were finding it. Some students even suggest that the person who did this might have taken the teacher's copy key out of the classroom. But soon she changes the topic and starts pointing fingers at Lu. Lu was trying continuously to prove her innocence, but Maki insisted on checking her bag. Finally, the box was found in her bag. This surprised everyone. Everyone present in the class knew that it wasn't Lu. There was no way she would do it. However, no one dared to speak for her. Incidents like these made Shasha and Maki so popular that no one dared object to what she had to say. Lu stood in amazement, but Maki kept accusing her. When she was done with Lu, she asked her to admit that it was Lin's idea. Finally, Lin understood Maki's plan, so he asks Pipa about the bad luck he has today. But unfortunately, he does not have much of it today. Yet still, he decides to pass every drop of bad luck on to her. The reason was simple: he was always everyone's first target. But now this time, the bullies made Lu their source to hurt him, which was unacceptable to him. Lu, who was standing shamefully, was thinking of a way to get rid of the bullies. For a moment, she thought that she should act the way bullies want. But then Lu felt bad for doing this to Lin, so she decided that she was not going to accuse Lin. Instead, she would find another way. While the whole class was ready to believe that Lin did this because of his popularity, after thinking for a while, Lu tells everyone that it was her who did all of this. The whole class didn't believe her and thought that it might be Lin who forced her to take the blame. Maki didn't like this, so she asked to repeat herself. Lu did this so that the bullies wouldn't hurt her. She did things her way. So, Maki asked her to tell the truth or she would. But Lu stands still. So Maki shows everyone the picture she took when Lin was carrying Lu to the infirmary on his shoulders. Maki made everyone think badly of Lu's characters. All the class began hooting about this. In this way, Maki was able to divert everyone's attention from the main issue. Lu still didn't believe that Maki would do anything like that. However, Lin was already expecting anything. Everyone began to call Lu third base. After listening to all of the humiliation, Lu started to laugh uncontrollably. Pipa felt the situation was serious as the bad luck was changing at an alarming rate. But Lin didn't care and told Pipa to be ready, as Lin was ready to touch Maki and transfer the bad luck onto her. Maki was enjoying every bit of the moment. Suddenly, she felt that something had just passed her, however, she was not able to see it. Lin approaches her from behind and holds her wrist, where she was holding the phone. Lin asks Pipa to transfer the luck as soon as he makes contact with her body. Maki begins to call Lin a pervert and asks him to leave. Everyone told Lin to back off, as no matter how bad the situation is, he should not raise his hand at a woman. Although everyone was disliking Lin's act, no one dared push Lin behind. But the class monitor holds Lin's arm and asks him to back off. Lin tells him to stay away, as this is not his matter. But he instead tells Lin that he is the class monitor, and one of his responsibilities includes saving other students from being bullied. Lin tried to engage in a verbal fight with him so that he would have enough time for the transfer. But Pipa tells him to stop as the transfer has been completed. A few days have passed, and it seems like no one talks about the incident that took place. Lu's bad luck has also been finished. Lin, on the other hand, is still hoping for Maki's demise. Yet, till this point, Maki has no idea what is coming for her. While Shasha and Maki are heading down, Maki falls and her foot gets sprained. Maki asks Shasha to go home and rest for some time, as she will need it. But Maki does not want to, as she tells her about the photo shoot for the magazine. Maki tells Shasha that she cannot lose her only chance to shine, and she will participate in it at all costs. She also tells Shasha about her dream to be a part of showbiz, so Maki offers her help, and she agrees. When Shasha was about to hold Shasha's hand, she felt that someone just grabbed her hands. Maki asks her the reason she didn't hold her hands, but Maki closes the topic and tells her that it is nothing. Shasha picks her up, after which both of them leave. Lin, who witnessed all of this, saw a dark spirit in Maki, so he asked Pipa about it. Pipa told him that it was an ill omen. It appears when someone has very bad luck. Lin begins to think that something is about to happen to Maki as the ill omen appears. Both of them reach the photography room. They apologize for being late. Their teacher lets the two girls meet Mr. Mu, who is the chief editor of the magazine. When Mr. Mu asks for the introduction, Maki confidently speaks in front of him. Mr. Mu interrupts and asks Shasha to speak. He tells his staff that he has found the perfect model. However, it was not Maki, it was Shasha. Shasha got ready and started to pose while Maki stood in the corner. She began to witness Shasha living her dream, so she approaches her teacher for help. but he declines and asks her to obey what Mr. Mu said. He also tells Maggie that she shouldn't have brought her with him. After some pictures, Mr. Mu announced packing up and ordered his team to carefully take the equipment. After the photo shoot, Mr. Mu appreciates Maggie and asks her to be one of his models. He instantly gives his card to her and leaves. Shasha, who was still unable to comprehend what just happened, was beyond happy. Outside the photography room, Shasha shows her excitement about the contract. But Maki is pissed and asks her to reject the offer. She tries to change the topic and accuses Mr. Mu of being a pervert. Maki does not believe that Shasha can be so mean just because of her jealousy, so she refuses to listen. After this, she ends her friendship with her because she realizes Maki never thought of her as a friend. Maki decides to push Shasha from the stairs so that her foot would also be sprained. However, Maki holds Shasha's hands, and as a result, Maki falls, hitting her head and bleeding badly. Lin was witnessing everything that was happening in Maki's life, including this. This news caused chaos in the class. The class teacher advised everyone not to go and meet Maki, as she is still not stable. While the incident had affected Shasha so much that she became depressed, everyone in the class starts gossiping about Maki. No one wanted to meet her and made false accusations against her. Even the security camera in the hall showed that Maki pushed Shasha and felt bad for her own mistake. Lin realized how double-faced the class is. Once upon a time, everyone was supporting Maki. Now, no one wants to be with her. Even in all of this, no one has used any words like bad luck for her. All of this realization made Lin furious, so he decided he would avenge everyone in the class by spreading his bad luck. Pipa interferes, trying to stop him, but Lin knew the method to make Pipa quiet. Pipa explained to him that bad luck wouldn't allow Lin to find a perfect candidate, but that it would spread on its own. However, Lin knew a way to get hold of the situation, as he has been dealing with bad luck for a very long time now. After the class, Lu apologizes to Lin about what happened. But instead of accepting her apology, he gave her a piece of advice. He told her to change or it would not take much for the class to become another Maki. After which he walks away from her, and tells himself that today is the last day. From tomorrow onwards, he would become the Lord of Demons, and no one would be spared. The next day, Lin decides to go to the Academy for Gifted Students. This academy has a history of sharpening every special student's gift. It was created when the students doing majors at the university were unable to fulfill the requirements of society. It was a needy time, so many special academies came into being. The academy is located behind Rainfall High. When Lin entered the academy, he noticed that it was not like any regular academy, as he saw different students performing various stunts. Lin was told to get admission and stay in the academy for 6 months or he would be expelled. But Lin started to wonder if he has any special abilities that would help him as he continued walking in. Lin is, of course, not happy about attending the academy. He thinks that it is a type of punishment for him. There he meets Ma Shaoji. This person is responsible for bringing people to their massage group. Ma Shuaji greets him and thinks that Lin must be overwhelmed right now. Ma Shaoji notices that Lin is in her first year, which appears to him as a surprise because most of the students join the academy in their second year. Lin does not seem very interested in talking to him, so Lin walks away from him. Ma Shuji does not mind and follows him. He requests that he give him a chance to show him around the place, and so Ma Shaoji starts giving Lin a tour of the academy. He first takes him to the art department, then the culinary department, and so on. Some of the students notice Ma Shaoji trying to impress Lin. Ma Shaoji was trying to find a member for his department, and if he failed, the department would be blocked due to a lack of members. Lin was not interested in any department until he saw a guy with amazing skills, so he asks Ma Shaoji about it. He tells him that this department is known as arbitration. It is a traditional skill. He further explains to Lin that when two departments that are not satisfied with each other get into a fight, this department handles it. Ma Shaoji tells him that he feels that this department is useless. Although it has been able to manage all the departments, however, Lin does not think the same and finds it interesting as this would help people to be more special in combat. Ma Shaoji corrects him and tells him that during a fight, one has to use skills that will represent their department or they will face consequences. In the end, Ma Shaoji asks Lin to give him a chance to give him a massage, and Lin agrees. After the massage, he invites him to join his department. But during the massage, Ma Shaoji was able to get Lin's physical and fitness data. Ma Shaoji couldn't believe what he just discovered. He felt that Lin's flesh had been regenerated again and again. Not only this, but his body is 100 times stronger. Implementing the fact that Lin has full combat power, Ma Shaoji asks him to join his department as he hands him the recruitment form. He even promises Lin that he will be the commanding general. Before Lin could take the form, Ma Xiaoji ripped it into parts. He apologized for wasting Lin's time before running away. Lin was surprised that he stared at him as he ran away, so Lin decided to go to other departments and ask them to make him a member. He visits various departments like arts, athletics, fitness, etc. Every department refused to hire him. Lin was still unable to understand when he found Ma Xiaoji looking for members to join. He goes to him and asks him about the issue. First, Ma Xiaoji refuses to tell him anything, but then he agrees to tell him everything. Ma Xiaoji reveals to him that the student council president, Bo, who asked him to join the academy, owns this academy. Lin and Bo were not on good terms, so he ordered every department not to make Lin part of their team. And if any department did that, they would be starting a war with every other department. Lin finally understood Bo's whole plan to find a good reason to expel Lin, so Lin decided to take the matter into his own hands. He makes a plan that if any department cannot give him membership, he will humiliate every department. Lin decides to start with the fitness department, and slowly he will go on to the rest of the departments. Lin walks towards the fitness department and introduces himself. He told them to get ready for a fight, while the other students stand in surprise. While in the gym, the deputy general is making the members of his social worker hard, while all the boys are saying their fitness slogan, which is shred body fat, long live muscles. When Lin came into the gym to introduce and invite the deputy general to fight, no one took him seriously, so the deputy general asked him about his department. Lin makes it clear that he is not from any department. Moreover, he would fight according to the arbitrational rules. The deputy general tells him the only rule that exists in the fitness department. All the members gather around them and start cheering for the deputy general. Everyone calls him stupid and skinny. He lets the deputy general try first. Deputy general uses his best moves 3 times, but none of them seem to be working for Lin. Although Lin appreciated the deputy general's physique and power, then he decides it is his time to prove himself at all costs. So he decides to go with his move. The members informed the deputy general to watch over his head, but it was too late. With Lin's fort hit, the deputy general was unable to get up. This left everyone in surprise. Lin asked the other members if anyone wanted to fight with him, but no one came forward. Some students expected that Lin's next target would be the fencing club, and their expectations came true as Lin headed to the fencing club. Then there was the basketball and boxing department. He fought with the deputy generals of the students. With his constant winning, Lin became popular among students. Even when he walked between the students, they used to gossip about him. After he was done with the vocal department, Lin was walking out when he asked the students why they didn't want to make such a talented person a part of their department. After saying what was needed, Lin dropped the vocal instruments to the ground. Just as Lin was done speaking, the crowd near him began to gossip about what was happening. Some of them suggest keeping him, but it would be dangerous, while others think you should let go of him. Zhu arrives at the location and asks one of the students to tell him about what is happening. The student tells him that this person, Lin, was rejected by every department, so he picked fights and won them. Zhu was intrigued because he had been rejected by a few departments as well. This freaks out the student standing behind him, as this is the second person who is not on good terms with the president of the student council. Some of the students in the crowd begin to think that Lin had won the matches by cheating. Every time he would have been fighting, the commanding generals would be in a meeting. Pipa talks to Lin and tells him to be careful, as a whole day has passed since he transferred the bad luck. Lin tells Pipa to stay calm, as he wants to deal with this issue first and handle it later. Moreover, he tells Pipa that he wants permanent success, which means that he needs to defeat someone so powerful that no one would dare stand against him. At that moment, Lin stops a ball that was about to hit him. It was thrown by Liu Xing, the class monitor of Lin's class. Lin was surprised to see him, and he told him that he didn't know that Liu was a member of the Gifted Academy. But Liu corrects him and tells him not to compare the both of us. He accuses Lin of being a cheat and tells him about the commanding generals in a meeting while he fights. Lin does not expect his claims and tells him that there is no way he could have figured it out by himself. But no matter what he says, the crowd believes Liu. Liu tells everyone that he is the class monitor of Lin's class, and he is known as the Lord of Catastrophe. He tells everyone that Lin is nothing more than a coward. The reason was simple: if he cannot achieve anything, he just puts it down to his luck. It is said that anyone who stays with him gets bad luck, but Liu does not believe him. He neither believes that Lin should be fighting in the academy because this place has gifted, special students. But she tells him that if he wants to fight, he should be able to defeat the soccer department. Every word that came out of Liu's mouth was accepted and agreed upon by the crowd. In this way, Lewis was able to make everyone think badly of Lin. Zhu, who didn't like Lin, also felt that this atmosphere was becoming bad. Lin stays quiet, as he hadn't expected any of these things to occur. But then Liu changes into the uniform as someone suggests a plan to him. He announces that it will be a penalty shootout, and he has to score at least 3 times in 5 games. When Lin does not answer it, Louis uses another method. He tells Lin that if he wins this match with the soccer department, he will give him a gifted qualification. But if he is unable to do any of these, he will have to leave the academy and never return. Lin asks Louis to stand still on his words as he accepts the challenge. Louis explains to Lai that in a penalty shootout, the goalkeeper is not in a favorable position. Louis looked down on Lin as he told everyone that there was a difference between a layman and a professional. According to Louis, as he is giving Lin a chance, he will prove himself. The crowd that was mocking Lin is now supporting Louis and sending him his best wishes for the match. Louis wears his uniform to show Lin that he is ready, and in this way, both of them reach the ground. The whole crowd was supporting Lin, but Lin thought that it did not matter if he was a professional goalkeeper, he must be very focused. On the first ball, Lin was able to score a goal. Lin laughed at Louis, thinking that he had let Lin have this. But the truth was far from this. Despite being a goalkeeper, he was unable to stop the ball. Zhu sits in the front line, where his fans take good care of him. For the second ball, Louis decides to act quickly even when the ball will reach. Lin was running towards the ball. Louis found many mistakes and decided to act accordingly. However, the ball was so speedy that Louis was still unable to stop it. After Lin scored 2 goals, the crowd changed sides. They began to question Lin's ability. They were angry at him and thought that Louis gave a wonderful speech just moments before to humiliate the gifted academy. Lin looks around the court and finds everyone saying bad things about him. Louis felt the heartbreak. Lin caught his attention and told him to be ready for the third ball. Louis asked him to stop as he was not ready. Lin, on the other hand, told him that he is just making excuses and that he will not budge. With this said, Lin puts the ball in its place and takes his place. Just as he kicked the ball a third time, the ball didn't reach Louis, because it was interrupted by a gentleman. Lin was amazed by his strength. The gentleman introduced himself as Qian Feng, the commanding general of the soccer department. He tells Lin that now the conditions of the game have changed. Further, he began to tell him that Louis made a promise he could not fulfill. Lin was angry, but Qian told him to listen to what he had to say. He tells Louis that the soccer department does not have the power to grant an individual a gift certificate. However, the second condition of the match will still be applied, which was that if he lost, he would never come back to the academy. Qian offers him a new condition and tells him that the soccer department would take him on as a member if he wins. Lin agrees because that was exactly what Lin was working for. Qian also asks the crowd if there is anyone who disagrees, but none of them comes forward. Qian announces that he will be taking the match from here on. Louis tries to tell Qian that he will handle it, but Kane made him leave the court after his bad performance. Louis felt embarrassed and insulted as he left, whereas Qian announces that the score they had will be valid. Implementing Lin has 3 chances to score a goal. Finally, Lin's request to fight with the commander was about to be fulfilled, so he agreed. The crowd started supporting the commander as he prepared himself for the match. Lin felt confident and again went back to put the ball in its place. As soon as he kicked it, Qian was able to block the ball with one hand. Lin was surprised to see his strength. Now Lin had 2 attempts and 1 goal to score. He throws the ball back at him and gives him another attempt. Lin felt differently about Qian, because his vibe was different. At first, he thought that it might be because of his practice, but then he thought that it might be something else. For the next attempt, Lin decides to use all of his power to beat Qian. He tries the volley throw. As the ball was spinning into the air, Qian realized the type of throw and got a flashback of his past. In Qian's past, he used to spend all of his time with the ball practicing this throw. Back in the present, the whole crowd does not like this and calls it cheating, as this type of throw is not accepted in a penalty match. When the ball is still in the air, Qian pulls his hand behind his back. The crowd was surprised because now Qian would be playing with only one hand. The crowd watches in surprise as Qian catches the ball with one hand. The ball was still spinning in his hand, and slowly its speed decreased. Now Lin is left with just one throw. Qian returns the ball to him. He tells Lin that he is such a good player, but he still needs help. Qian tells Lin that he is not focused. Qian understands that Lin needs someone to help him in his fight against the president of the student council. But Kane cannot put his whole department into the mess that he didn't create. That is why Kane is playing at his best level to protect his department. He tells Lin that he put his hand behind his back to prove the same point. Pipa calls for Lin's attention. He asks Lin to allow him to help. Lin tells him to stay out of this. Pipa does not like this and calls him rude as he just wants to help. But Lin explains to him that he was waiting for this moment. He wanted to beat the best, and now this is his time to shine. He tells Pipa that Qian noticed everything in him but ignored one. He tells Pipa that he is not interested in soccer, but he is playing his best because of Qian. Kyan ignored Lin's obsession to beat someone with his real power, and this would make the tables turn. Kyan felt the energies around him change. It is the time of the last ball. As Lin prepares himself for the final shot, Kyan's expression changes. When the ball reached Kyan, he felt different, like someone was pushing pressure on him that he could not handle. It was no evil spirit but just Lin's determination. Kyan and the ball fell to the ground. The ball was near the floor and it was spinning around. However, the ball didn't cross the line, leading to the soccer team's victory. The whole crowd supported Kyan and appreciated his power. Many wanted to join the group as a P. Even the commanders of other departments were surprised and happy. But Kyan was impressed by Lin and became a fan of his determination. Everyone was celebrating except Lin. Lin had lost the bet as he left the academy. Peepa tries to reassure him, but it is of no use. Peepa reminds him that he just wanted to fight with the best, and he did. He should not be concerned by the results. Peepa lies to him and tells him that there was no bad luck today, but the fact is that no matter how hard Lin tries, there will be someone better than him. It turns out that when Lin is emotional, her bad luck increases. Before he kicked the ball, the bad luck level was already at its maximum. But when he became determined, bad luck worked against him. Peepa shared his intentions. He wants to reverse the servant majesty effect. So Peepa continues lying to him. Peepa tells him to be obedient to him, and he will reward him. Peepa continues to speak while Lin speaks silently. Clearly Lin was upset that he was unable to win, so he decided to stay quiet. Their conversation is interrupted when Peepa is hurt by a rose. It turns out Zhu threw at Lin to make him stop. Zhu tells Lin that he will not take much time, but he wants to create a new department, and he needs Lin as its member. This new department would be stronger than everyone else. Zhu asks Lin to join him. Lin does not like Zhu due to their previous interactions. Lin asks the reason behind it, and Zhu tells him that he noticed that he is different. He does not fear anyone, he does whatever he wants. Also, both of them got the same punishment and have the same enemy. Zhu calls him his partner and his brother. Lin tells him not to flatter him. Peepa tells Lin to leave Zhu on his own, as he is just using him. Lin asks him why he only chose him for this, although he is called a prince of a rich family. Zhu continues speaking and tells him that he does have money, but he does not have enough guts to be able to do everything he wants to do. Only Lin has those, and these would be good for both of them. He wants to make Lin a member so that he can do what Zhu cannot do. Zhu buys a tin from the machine and begins to drink it. Lin tells him to stop and asks him to continue from where they left off, as this is what he would like. Zhu tells him that it is okay for men to talk with their hands. Lin laughs at his sentence and tells him that he is just a prince who has money, so he cannot say that. Zhu tells him that this is not who he is. He was not very rich from the start, he worked for it. Zhu tells him that the person everyone sees is just a fake, but now he has the money, so he likes to spend it and watch all those people suffer who laughed at him. Lin just wants to fight with him, so Lin agrees. But Lin does not know that his bad luck has been activated and that it will not get him a better result. Once again, Peepa tries to stop Lin by telling him that he just worked hard enough and shouldn't be doing it. Lin, as usual, ignored Peepa's words. While all of this is going on, Louis goes to meet some boys. The boys are part of a gang named Falling Stars. He meets them at their hanging place. The boys see him playing soccer, so they tell him to leave. But Louis decides to introduce himself as Makey's friend. He requests their assistance in getting rid of Lin. The boys agree. On the other hand, Lin and Zhu get into a fight. Both of them hit each other with the same force, and no one can get a handle on the situation. Zhu agrees that Lin has a very strong body. Peepa decides to interfere and save Lin from his bad luck. For this, he uses his demonic ability to transfer the bad luck to him. During the fight, Lin tells Zhu not to leader the R and pick up the empty trash can. Suddenly, Zhu notices a pain in his left shoulder but decides to go on fighting. After the transfer was complete, Lin was able to put Zhu in his place. Zhu fans arrived at the scene and were terrified to find Zhu in a position like this. Zhu notices them and decides to stand up again, but Lin punches him again, making him fall again. This incident hurts Zhu's reputation. Lin finally decides to stop and leave Zhu. Before leaving, Lin notices a bird standing high above in the air in front of Zhu's head. The bird pops, which hurts Zhu, while his 3 fans finds it disgusting. His fans talk about Lin being harsh to Zhu. At that moment, Louis and the rest of the Falling Stars crew arrive. They ask Zhu, who was lying on the ground, about Lin's whereabouts. Zhu understood that Louis had come with them to get his revenge. Zhu takes it personally, although he didn't have to. So Louis takes the matter into his own hands and tells Zhu that they do not hold any grudges against him. All they want is Lin. But Zhu, who wants to have Lin on his side, decides to lie to him. He rejects the claim and tells him that he does not see him. After, Louis tells everyone to leave Zhu alone. But Zhu mocks Louis for going after Lin, although he has many other enemies. This was enough to make a boxer in the gang hit Zhu. Louis makes him stop and tells him that he is a popular kid and they should not mess with him. Just as Louis was about to leave, he gets a phone call in which the other person tells him about Lin's location, so the group hurries to catch him. Zhu also decides to leave and help Lin, as the guy who hit him would be a challenge for Lin. For this, he goes back to his school in order to get some people with him who would help him. On the other hand, Lin already felt that some people were following him. Pipa tells him that no matter how hard he tries to treat everyone justly, he will never be treated like that. The problem that appears to be Lin's bad luck is now out of order, so he needs to figure out a way out. Lin decides to transfer the bad luck first and then start the fight. Pipa plays an important role here, as he makes Lin feel less alone by assuring him that he is there for him. Lin decides to run away to a secluded area for the fight. Louis and the other gang members of the Falling Star were able to catch him. While Lou cannot stop herself, she should think about the advice that Lin gave her about changing herself. She seemed to be working hard to be among the gifted students. Lin and Pipa go to a deserted place. Pipa tells Lin to go hide somewhere. He will be using his abilities and will be able to detect his enemies from a distance. Lin finds it strange that Pipa still has his abilities but feels okay. Pipa tells Lin that he just had lost a fight, he should not be losing another one, so he should let him help. Finally, Lin agrees, taking his help. While Pipa has his objectives, he wants to help Lin so that he will become his servant and help restore his health by catching a soul. Both of them hear a musical instrument, so Pipa tells Lin to get down. Lin asks him what that is, but Pipa has no information. He tells Lin to go and check himself. As soon as Lin and Pipa enter the room, Lin feels that he is surrounded by fairies and his tears start falling. Pipa asks him to control the emotions or he would not be able to control the amount of bad luck he currently has on himself. The girl stops playing her violin and asks the reason behind Lin's crying. Lin was unable to answer while Pipa told him to be careful as the lady might cause trouble for him. On the other side, Louis and the gang reach a dead end. They lost Lin's track. One of the members suggests Louis go back as Lin would not have entered here, but Louis decides otherwise. So the group decides to go into the deserted place to find Lin. Without wasting much time, Louis was able to find Lin. But Louis was surprised to find a lady. He asks him about the lady. Lin asks Pipa about the situation and how Pipa was not able to warn him. But Pipa does not know either. He tells Lin to transfer the bad luck so that he may win. Pipa feels that the girl is a threat to both of them. When the boys noticed the presence of the girl, they told her to leave or things would get messy. One of them goes near her and tells her that bad things happen in the deserted area, so she should leave. But the girl wasn't having any of it today. She slapped the boy who was touching him. Lin attacked the boy to save the girl. A member with a blue hoodie pushes him away to stop equals. Lin felt surprised because he felt at the moment that the man in the blue hoodie is very strong. Then Louis starts speaking, and he tells him that he does not want to fight. He just wants to give him punishment. For this, he would record his fighting and send it to the student council. In this way, Lin would never get rid of problems and punishments. He orders Lin to start the fighting so that he can record a video. On the other hand, Zhu goes back into the classroom to get some help. He tries to motivate the other students, saying they should help him. But sadly, none of them dared to do this. Everyone sat down. Zhu stood in disbelief that his class could consist of people like that. When all of Zhu's hopes were about to fall, Lu stood up, showing him that she would be ready to help Lin. Zhu finds it surprisingly interesting and tries to tell Lu that this is not something she should be involved in. They would be dealing with a group of students and a girl cannot help them. And that's how the first part of this manhwa ends. Well guys, if you like this video and you want a second part, comment below with the word